What's going on, guys? Welcome in to another episode of the Male Mind Podcast, episode number 14. Ooh. Thank you guys for being here. Guys, we are now doing Male Mind Mondays.
Yes.
So we had our first live this week. So jump on Instagram, follow us at Male Mind Podcast. Every Monday at 4 p.m., Louis and myself are going to go live, or we're going to bring on a guest. And the idea is we want to have more content outside of just the regular podcast. We want to interact with you guys, so shoot us a DM. If you want to be on the live, if you want a specific topic, shoot it our way, because we want to have more and more good content, valuable content on the page. So thank you guys. But with that being said, we have a tremendous guest today, someone that has been on the radar for a while. He also does podcasts. We have Benjamin Potzsch. He is a founder of 20U, entrepreneur, endurance athlete, TEDx speaker. The list goes on and on.
Wow,
Ben,
look at that resume.
Yeah, look at that resume. Ben, thank you so much for being here, my man.
Bro. Imagine when I'm 30, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you so much for being here, Ben.
Hey, no, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here with you guys and just have a good, funny conversation.
Yeah, it's going to be a great conversation. We were kind of talking off camera before we were on about what you bring to the table, right? So tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, what your purpose is. I know you're heavily involved with people kind of a younger demographic. Yeah. So tell us about that.
So I'm 23. I'm going to be 24 in September. I'm from Chile. Moved here 2 years ago. I love just doing hard things mentally and physically. I did my 7th ultramarathon like a couple of weeks ago. We sprained ankle, 4th of July. So when everybody was with their family, holidays, 90 degrees, I was in hell suffering by myself. I love public speaking. I started 20 years because I love entrepreneurship. I love to build people and build businesses. It's just like, it's really exciting. And the thing that makes me, bro, is that, again, as I said, I'm 23 and I've been able to make a name out of myself. I've been here just 2 years. And I'm not saying this in a cocky way, but I've been able to do things that most people don't even do in a lifetime. But I want to show young kids what they're capable of doing in their own personal lives too. So my purpose is to show people what's possible, especially young people, because I truly believe that my generation and the generation that comes after me, like all these young kids, they have the potential to be the next leaders, to be great, and to change the world. But the reality is that, well, potential doesn't mean reality. Potential is something future. Right. And I want to help these kids to show them what they could be doing in their own personal lives. So that's kind of like a brief summary of like what I'm doing and everything with my life, you know.
That's really cool.
You said a key word that I want to bounce to you, Louis, the word potential. So many people have been told that they have potential. I was always told growing up that I had potential. How do you view that word, Louis? I'm sure that when you have athletes come in, you'll see someone and you'll say, oh, that person has potential.
Yeah.
But how do you get them from potential to reality?
Honestly, it's breaking them down and letting them see exactly where they're at, where they could be, but it's the in-between for me. Because in the in-between, right, of potential and reality, it's a lot of crap, a lot of food, training, time, energy, effort, mental work. And I honestly believe in all of my clients, and they look at a picture, they look at an athlete, I want to look like that guy. And I say, okay, well, you have the potential, but it's going to take you 5 years. That's the reality. And it's more of a time frame for people, especially in what I'm doing. It's a time frame. To look a certain way, it's a time frame. To get to that level and look that way, it's a mental, work that you have to do for a long period of time.
Which takes patience. Right?
So much patience.
I feel like everybody has the potential to be great, bro.
Everything.
Like everybody. Because we're all like created in a similar way, and we all have that divine potential inside of us. But again, the reality is that not a lot of people get to chase that or actually become that dude or girl.
Well, I also think too, with potential, you have to build that skill set over time, because you can find someone that, hey, you can look in my job, you can look like this or like a pro bodybuilder, but you have to actually build the skill set, the food, the habits, the cardio, the information, the knowledge with your body equals results equals now you're in the reality of who you could be. Really.
But again, that takes time. And one of the things that I've noticed with people in their early 20s is that lack of patience. So Ben, you talk a lot about the word urgency.
I'm not a patience person, just so you know.
Right. Well, that's exactly where I'm going. How do you consolidate what Louis is saying, which is absolutely true, which in order to get from point A to point B, it's going to take time, sometimes years, depending on what the goal is, but urgency. So how do you consolidate those two true principles?
So it took me a long time to understand that things take time, and that's just part of the formula, because everything takes time, and it is what it is. But what I call is aggressive patience. Like, I'm going to understand that some things take time, but it's not going to take me 10 years or 8 years. For what most people, it takes them 10 years, I'm going to do it in 5. Because I understand that if I live my life in a way that I have that urgency Monday through freaking Monday, every single day, I do the exact same thing, I can do it in less time. Because I see it like simple math. Like, if you work from Monday through Friday, but I do the same thing Monday through Monday, I'm going to get an advantage from you. Mentally, physically, in all areas in your life. You know, and that's what I do. I call it separation. For me, weekends are separation days. Holidays are separation season. And summer, separation time. And that's why I love to do crazy stuff, especially on the weekends and like holidays. And that's where my mind, I try to push harder, because I know most people are not doing it. And that's where I can create more separation. Therefore, I can get there faster to my goals and to the place I want to be in life. You know?
No, I love that.
That's cool.
But how do you avoid burning out? Because when you're going at that quick of a pace,
I know,
is that
because
something,
we live it every
because
day.
we've been through that, right? So
Yeah.
is that something that was natural to you, that quick pace, or how do you avoid burnout? Have you felt it?
Yeah, dude, for sure. But this is the thing, dude. Like, I take some, not like rest or breaks, but I have good relationships with people. I have good habits and good systems that I've placed in my life to feed my soul and my energy. So it's not that I'm always working, but this is the thing. People talk about balance and have balance and all this stuff. I don't really believe that, dude. Like, especially in your 20s, like, you don't have to have balance in your 20s. When you're young, it's creating time. It's work time. It's time to build. Have balance later. Like, screw balance. And everybody in social media is telling you slow down. I'm like, bro, like, whenever people, and I had a conversation actually with Martel about this, because like, they're like, dude, you're too extremist. You do the same thing. Take a break. And I'm like, bro, if you could understand my life, where I'm from, and the tip of my shoulder that I have, you would understand why I don't stop.
100%.
Dude, I have my freaking, let's go personal. I have my freaking brother. He's 15. He looks up to me. He could die any single minute because he has tumors all over his body. Tongue, here, he's going deaf, he's going blind, he has his own brain. And I'm like his dad. At church a couple weeks ago, bro, I wanted to quit so bad. And I called my mom. And she's like, Ben, just remember your brother, because last week he spoke at church and he was talking about you. How you're his role model. He looks up to you. He's always flexing about his older brother. So he's like, dude, I have urgency, not just because of me, but because of him. I see my mom getting divorced and all this stuff. She's been through cancer. Dude, she's almost died multiple times. So he's like, I don't have another option, bro.
And,
so
for you, his life is too short.
It is what it is, dude. People don't understand the freaking bag that I'm carrying in my bag. So I don't want to have balance. I don't want to take a break. I want to win for them. And I want to win for myself, you know? So he's like, I get passionate about this, bro, because like, dude, you don't, when I always say this, you truly don't have time. You know?
And you never know what's going to happen either.
Yeah. Like, I've had so many close death experiences that I'm like, bro, that could have been it.
And that's what we were talking about yesterday. Yesterday on the live, we're talking about being a pioneer, about being the one, being the person that takes charge, that is willing to go out on a limb, sacrifice, so that you can set other people up, right? Louis talked about his brothers. I feel the same way. I mean, I push my family. I'm like, you all need to have your own business, and you all need to have money, and you all need to be set
100%.
So that you don't need to rely on somebody else. So I love that concept. And I think that for most people, if you take a step back, you can find those motivations in your own life.
Right.
Even if maybe like your mom doesn't have cancer or things like that, but you can still find the why, that it factor in your own life that can propel you. You know, Conor McGregor has a famous quote that says, if you are lazy, it's disrespectful to all the people that believe in you.
100%.
And so for him, that was something that he really took to heart, because he knew that if he was lazy, he knew he had the potential, and that was disrespectful to everybody around him.
Let me tell you something with that. When I moved to the U.S., I moved here because I wanted to become a motocross rider. I love motocross. But I had to be realistic with myself, because I was competing with kids that have been riding since they were 5 and their parents are loaded. So that it's a really expensive sport. So because I started older, and I'm not just saying that's an excuse why I didn't make it, but you got to be realistic. You're not going to be the next LeBron James when you're like 35 or something.
Right.
If you just started playing basketball.
Because it takes time to perfect
you know?
the craft.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the thing. When I moved here and I told my mom what I wanted to do, she was getting divorced at the time. And she believed in me so much that she gave me the money to buy my own dirt bike. She put money out of her savings because she believed not in the motocross thing, but in me. And then I was able to sell my dirt bike, and that was the beginning of 20 years. I was able to invest that. So it's like, dude, she believed in me so much that I have so many people counting on me that moves me forward. And this is the other thing, like, it's not about just like motivation or like think about your wild and stuff. Like, if you're not disciplined, you're not gonna make it, bro. Like, if you depend on motivation to like move around and like get your ass off the couch, you're not gonna make it in life. That's just a fact.
It's so funny though, because now that he's talking, it reminds me kind of me and you. I'm like, dude, from 24 to 30, I was killing it.
Yeah.
Now I have balance. Now I'm chilling. And what I mean by that, you guys, is 24, now I'm 33, 34. Yeah, so the last Luchito? 10 years. So I'm 33 now. I'll be 34.
You look younger, bro.
Yeah, I'm healthy, bro. Yeah. But so going back to what you said, like in my 20s, I was grinding. I had the hustle kill mentality because I knew, and we talked about it yesterday, I was setting myself up for success. Then after that, I could chill, and the empire was built. My empire is already built, right? But it was me in my 20s building discipline, habits, reading books, being realistic with myself, working on my body, working on my mental health. And in between was, finding cash, getting married. Everything else started adding up because I was so in tune with my why and my goal, which was living the American dream.
This is the time to build your foundation, bro. Like when you're young.
So, but honestly, I can probably retire when I'm 40 or 45, maybe 50. Now I have another 20 years of just living and coaching and teaching because I set myself up for success in my 20s.
But that's why I think your platform is so interesting, because you've identified the people that have won and what they did early. So what a lot of people will try to do in your situation will be like, okay, I want to hang out with the winners and I want to talk to the same people that the winners talk to. But you took the opposite approach, and you're like, instead of going to them, if they're 45-year-old,
I'm going to do my own thing.
I'm going to do my own thing, but I'm going to talk to the younger generation. Yeah. So what are some things that you see? I mean, being heavily involved now here, I feel like the old man, but it's true.
You're 40,
we're not, no, I'm 32. But being a part of the college scene, what do you see? What are some things that you feel are holding people back, the stories you hear, the people that you get to interact with that are in that college stage right now? What are you seeing?
Holding them back?
Yeah.
They're just, honestly, bro, we live, my generation and the generation that comes like younger than me, it's the softest, most weak generation in the entire world. And these are the guys who are supposed to change the world. Dude, back in the day, who founded this country? How old were they? 22?
Yeah.
23?
Founding fathers?
What is a 22-year-old kid doing right now? Hanging out with their friends.
DoorDashing.
The most fulfilling thing going on is probably going to school and dating with this girl. So it's like, there's a lack of role models. There's a lack of true men. I see everything what's going on in the world, like all these singers and Hollywood and celebrities and kind of like role models, which they're pretty bad influences. That's why a 15-year-old kid is going to follow freaking like a girl is going to follow the Kardashians, or like those are the girls and guys they look up to. But I've realized that it's not those role models' fault. Is the people who should be leading, who should be setting the standard, and they're not doing it. And I truly believe, dude, that the young kids, the younger generation, they have the potential to be great, bro. I'm doing things that most people do in their 30s or 40s. And this is the other thing, and I'm not saying like to flex or anything. I'm a regular freaking dude. Bro, I came from a small town with 80,000 people from Chile, South America. I'm messed up mentally. I could tell you my strongest stuff. I have every single problem that you can imagine mentally, family stuff, personal stuff, drama, all this stuff. I struggle probably more than most people. But the fact that I can still get stuff done, like for me, it's a way that I can show these kids, if I can do it, you can do it too.
Yeah.
Because and that's my purpose, to show people what's possible. Because, dude, I'm not a regular dude. We're the same boat. When I talk to these young kids, whatever, I'm like, bro, I'm 23, you're 21. We're there. We're not there really that far away. So whatever you see in me, you can do it too. You have the same potential, even better. Because you're in this country, which this country provides so much opportunity. Mm-hmm. Like, it's the U.S. The financial opportunity, the freedoms that you guys enjoy, the resources and all this stuff. Like, I said this last week. Like, if you're not successful here, dude, you're literally stupid. Like, honestly, because you have everything.
Though. That's the key. You have that you know what it looks like. You know what the opposite looks like.
Yeah.
You know what a third world country looks like. I mean, you
know what poverty looks like.
You know it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll speak from experience. I came from a family where we poor, no. Where we rich, no. I mean, we're middle class.
Dude, same me. I was like middle stuff. But
so
like,
So for somebody like me, I had to go on a mission to Honduras for 2 years to see that. I had never seen poverty like that. So I think that's a tremendous advantage for you two because you guys have that context that I didn't have. I had to leave to try to find it. Once I did, it changed my life. Yeah. But before that, I just like, this is what life is. I had a car in high school. I had the first iPhone. I always had the latest, video game thing. That was just my life. You know? And so I didn't have that context that I think you guys have that is incredibly valuable.
You said it. What's people like holding people back here is comfort. Honestly, you have too much. You have it too good.
It's too easy.
It's too like people struggle. Like all these young kids struggle because like, oh, I have depression because my mom didn't buy me an iPhone, bro. Like you don't even know what true struggle means, like, dude. Mm-hmm. Oh, your friends didn't invite you to a party. Who gives a crap, dude? You want to know what true struggle it's like?
Try being hungry.
Yeah, you don't. This is the thing. You have mental skills. You said it. Building the mental skills, and then you have resources. Mm-hmm. All these kids here, especially here, because they have it so good, they always relied on resources. So they never had to develop the discipline, the grit, the resilience to actually win. But us, because we have a different perspective, we were forced to learn those skills.
Yeah, we were.
Now you come here, you have resources, you're going to kill them. If you're competing against me, I'm going to eat you for breakfast. Because for so long, I've been developing these skills, Mm-hmm. So...
Yeah, so how has that impacted you, Louis? I mean, talk to us about that. You have mentioned your background coming from Venezuela.
Yeah,
so a lot of things.
I saw a lot before I was even 10. Like I remember seeing this guy get shanked right in front of me.
Shanked? What's that?
He got knifed.
Oh, knife. Shanked?
Shanked.
Never heard of that before.
I'll send it to you. I'll text it to you.
Word of the day.
Word of the day. So yeah, I was 8 years old and I saw people. There was gang members. There was fights. I saw poverty. A lot of different things that I told myself I would never want to go back to and be in that position. And obviously I was grateful enough that my parents, left Venezuela. They came to the U.S. They came and got me. We moved back to the U.S. So it's hard to say because I've seen people struggle in their life, and you said it yourself, man. Like, people don't really know what struggling is.
They don't know, bro.
Like, even when me and Cass started dating, she was like, "Oh, well, like, she never understood what it felt like to be poor, or to be hungry, or not to have shoes, or like our soccer ball and our baseball was literally newspaper in a bag. My baseball growing up was a newspaper ball in a sock, right? We cut the top of the sock off, and we got black tape, and we wrapped it really hard, and it felt like a freaking baseball. That shit was dense, but that was our baseball. And kids don't realize that. Yeah. Us training for baseball was beer caps and a broomstick. And we would throw the beer caps. We would try to... You know how hard it is to hit a beer cap with a broomstick? That is so difficult.
Takes skill, bro.
It takes skill. So those little things like that remind me consistently, like, man, like I used to have nothing, and I have everything now, right? The American dream. Yeah. And it wasn't even about being in America. Honestly, I could have been in Europe or Australia, and I could have done the exact same things because that was built in me. I never wanted to go back to being poor. I never wanted to go back and have my kids be hungry. I never wanted to go back to have my roof have holes and be leaking when it's raining, or we have to get remember the buckets of water? I have to get buckets of water, and we would shower with buckets. You guys don't see that. These kids don't see that.
But I think that's the challenge,
and that's
right?
The challenge.
And I think that's who we want to speak to, or I think that's what I was thinking as I was driving here that I wanted to talk to Ben about, because here there are going to be some people who have those stories, but I think it's going to be less and less. Yeah. So I think when you go to a college scene, most kids here at UVU or BYU, especially because of the cost of BYU and things like that, there are going to be some immigrants and things like that have stories like that. But a lot of kids are going to be like myself. We grew up here. We had the car. We had the iPhone. So I think that is a contributing factor to what you're talking about, where we get so overwhelmed with these small things.
Yeah.
Because to us, that's the most extreme thing that's ever happened. Does that make sense?
But dude,
so it's like, how do we get to a place where the pain threshold or the ability to deal under stress can increase, so that those small things of, oh man, I only have the iPhone 11, that doesn't make me feel bad. Does that make sense? How do we get there? How do these kids get there?
You don't have to like see the other or be in the other side to realize what you have. Like, you
agree.
just have to look around. Everybody,
Yeah.
there's always somebody that has it harder than you, and that's just a fact. You know, if you just start looking around. Like, I thought I had it harder, but then I started meeting people. I'm like, bro, I'm full of crap. Like, there's people that have it harder.
Way harder.
But I think at the end of the day, dude, it comes down to like what do you want? Like, if you want to win or not. Like, I know a lot of people that they come from like this reality, like from another country or whatever, and they're still the same. You know, they didn't change anything. Now, I know a lot of people that their parents are loaded. I met this girl. She's 21. I'm going to have her on my show. Her dad is loaded, really successful entrepreneur, and she took advantage of that, and now she owns a company that she works with charities, has like 15 employees, and she's 21. You know, so you have both sides, you know, and then you think, okay, what's the thing then? And I think it all comes down to like, what do you want in life, bro? Like, do you want to win or not? Like, what is it that you're pursuing? You know, because you can, I mean, with all these kids here, I see like they have so much more advantage than where I started or that most people started. So that's why I'm always like, dude, you have so much, like you can't see it.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, dude. Like, I think it all starts with self-awareness.
100%.
I think that's a huge starting point. Like, if you want to know where to start, just look around you. Look where you are in life. Look what you're doing. Look where you're going. Just stop for a minute. Disconnect from your phone. Stop hanging out with your friends. Spend some time by yourself and start figuring out, where am I going with my life? What do I want?
What am I doing? What are my
Like,
goals?
what am I doing?
You know, who am
what's my
I?
purpose? You know, I always preach about that.
Yep. But you
So-
said something key. You said with this chick that's 21 years old, she took advantage of it. And I've had a lot of conversations with people that are privileged, and that fact makes them feel bad. They feel that because they haven't had the struggle, their life has less meaning. Because the most extreme thing that ever happened to them was their car broke down. A lot of people feel that way, and they
so true.
shy away from their privilege. So I was having a conversation about a year ago with a buddy of mine who also grew up, you know, wealthy and things like that. And he had a similar thought of, if I was placed in this position, this privileged position, where I was born here, my family's well off, we have resources, instead of seeing that as a negative, turn it into a positive.
Right.
Take what you have and turn it into a positive. And that's been my experience, because we were not rich by any means, but I'll tell you, the most extreme thing that ever happened to me growing up was for like 2 weeks. We didn't have hot water, and we had to like heat it up in the stove.
The stove, yeah.
That's the craziest story I have. Like, that's it. But what I try to do is instead say, okay, if I was placed in this privileged position, I got to do something with it. Because I know I hit the lottery, bro. I hit the lottery. I was born here. I was all of it. And I've heard all of these crazy stories.
Yeah.
White, male, heterosexual, in Utah, middle class family. I hit the fucking lottery.
Yeah.
And so, but instead of making that make me feel bad or be like, oh, you know, how do you take advantage of that? And a lot of these kids that you deal with, they're in that situation. They're in privileged positions. How do we get them to realize that, internalize it, and say, okay, I won the lottery. I'm going to do something with it to provide a value to others.
I say purpose, bro, because like this is the thing. Most people, because they have the resources, they stay there. Why? Because they're chasing the resources. Now they have it. They don't have any reason to move forward.
They
When
don't have
you
any-
have purpose, a mission in life, and when you figure out why God sent you here right now, you're going to realize that it's so big that you're always going to have to do a lot of work. And it's related with people. So because your purpose is to help people in some sort of way that then you have to figure it out, you're not chasing the money anymore, which the money will come because if you're helping people, solving people's problems and adding value, money's just a byproduct. That's why I do so much, because my calling on earth is like so high up there that is like I'm always have to do a lot of work because I'm chasing people.
Yeah.
I'm chasing change. I'm chasing
100%.
influence. I'm not
100%.
chasing something that I can get and have it.
Preach.
Do I have financial goals? 100%. But my purpose on earth of why I came here is related to people. And there's always going to be a lot of people out there, you know? So it's like an unreachable goal, but I also want to try to get there. Does that make sense?
It makes
100%.
perfect
So-
sense.
Perfect
It
sense.
makes perfect sense.
And that's exactly what we talked about. I think episode 3.
Yeah.
Like talking about purpose and passion. I literally said a word for what you said, which is wild to me. I said, because we were talking about money, and he was like, making me like, oh, okay, let's talk about money. But it's true. The money will come. But my purpose and my mission
It's people.
is people.
Yeah.
I see millions, hundreds of people a day, a week, thousands of people. I'm traveling. I'm doing over here. I'm going over there. We're talking to people. I'm constantly around people to do what? Make them better. If I make someone else better, right, the money will come. Especially in my business, all I do is help people get fit and look good and feel healthy and feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
From 10 came to 300, 500 people, which took time, which took discipline, which took knowledge and my skill set. But going back to my 20s, I was myself and I said, Lou, what is my greatest skill set that I can utilize to make money? I'm really good with people. I love fitness. I have a business degree. Oh, let's just mold it together and create that bigger purpose, that bigger vision, right? People don't have vision.
But it goes to that self-awareness that you were talking about before, where
I think that's a good starting point for sure. Yeah.
because if someone's sitting there and like, okay, cool, purpose. I mean, that sounds cool, but how do I find mine?
What is it?
I talk about that often. I think it's a combination of what do you love, but also what are you good at. And if those things match, you've won. If you are good at the thing you are best at, you've won the lottery.
Won lottery.
All right, real talk. Just look around you, bro. The world is so freaking messed up. The ideology is going on. Everybody's soft. There's no leaders, lack of role models. You have a purpose right there. You can just take that on your shoulder and be like, I'm going to become that dude. Like, there's so much purpose that you can have because there's so much struggle and problems out there, and you can make that your life and purpose.
Correct.
The friend I didn't have, the dad I wish I had, the freaking leader I wish I had, the role model I wish I had when I was 20, I became that dude.
So
I chose that
I agree
purpose.
with that. I agree with
You know?
that. But at the same time, in your case, your particular thing is building a community with people. In your case, being a fitness trainer. But not everybody can do that. Not everybody can be that in the sense of everybody be a fitness trainer or everybody start an apparel line or do
I mean, I'm not
events.
saying you have to like influence thousands of people, but if you feel like God is using you to help other people, that's it.
Right, but the problem is the pushback is a lot of people say to do what?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
what's
then you got to figure it out. What do you like to do? Like which area? You want to be a doctor? What do you want to do?
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Right? That's what we're talking about. Of to do what? To help people do what?
And that's the
so
thing
I feel
that-
like we need to break down a little bit deeper so that people can start to understand, okay, doing this, I'm going to start a gym. I'm going to be a real estate agent, help families buy their home. I mean, what is the vehicle, which is what you and I talked about in our podcast. What is the vehicle that's going to actually get you there? I think that's the disconnect for a lot of folks.
Well, they got to try stuff, bro. Like freaking in
Try
your 20s,
stuff?
explore.
I love it. Okay,
In
so
your
try
20s,
stuff.
try
explore.
stuff.
Bro, I thought I was gonna become a doctor. I went to the hospital with my dad for like a couple of weeks because I want to become a surgeon. Then I realized what it took. I was like, it's not for me. Then I started a motocross track. I wanted to do a thing with my brother. Didn't work. Then I started something real estate in Chile. Didn't work. Then I started a company for COVID to go and sanitize building. Didn't work. Then I moved here, motocross. Didn't work. Got into sales. Didn't work. And then I tried all these stuff. And then because I had so many things in the table, I was like, you know what? I'm going to choose this, this, and this.
Well, there you go.
I
Yeah,
always
that-
said yes
that-
to every single opportunity because I wanted to try it. But then I was like, I'm good at this. I love this. I'm going to eliminate all my other options and I'm going to go full throttle on this thing and I'm going to make it happen.
So
You know?
that's the concept.
And that's the
right?
concept.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the it thing. Try a lot of different
Try.
things. Don't be afraid to fail. You're going to learn from I'm sure from every experience you had, you learned something different.
and I met a lot of cool
and the
people too.
aggregate at the end is what allows you to be who you are now.
Yeah.
100%.
But if there's this fear of failure because we don't want to let people down or because our mental health is in the way, which again, some people, they have serious mental health issues. The way I categorize mental health issues though is there's something that is medically wrong with your brain.
Yes.
Your brain doesn't work in the way it's supposed to. That's a mental illness. And speaking from personal experience, that's very different from where I was at, where I just didn't know how to handle stress. But I told myself I had a mental illness. I did not. I was just a pansy. Like I didn't know how to handle stress. I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know how to deal with chaos. But I told myself that was a mental illness when really all it was a lack of emotional skills. And I think that delineation needs to be made because when it's not made, we do a disservice to the people that have true mental illnesses.
Preach.
And when we just feel like, oh, I'm sad, or I'm frustrated, I must have a mental illness.
Dude, everybody struggles
I
with
must be
something.
depressed.
That's the thing.
I must. There must be something wrong up here because I feel sad.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing. I don't think it's the same thing. I think it's very different from.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel down.
But yeah, if you think about it, being a schizo, right, which is an actual mental illness,
Yeah.
opposed to, oh, I'm sad and depressed.
So I think
Completely
also,
different.
yeah. So part of the show is creating that awareness to have a greater respect for people that have true mental illnesses, to where it's a health challenge like cancer.
Well, let's
like
talk about it, because we said in the
diabetes.
beginning, before we started the show, is that you guys, a generation, dude, I totally agree. There's a lot of things that men, they're not talking. They're not communicating how they're feeling. And most of these guys are struggling. And I know a lot of them, that they have kids, families, and they're struggling in silence. But this is the thing. They've made something out of themselves. They have responsibilities. They have a family. They have kids and all this stuff. But they
Right.
need to learn how to cope with it. But now you have all these younger kids that they're complaining about everything. Everybody has depression. Everybody has all this mental stuff. But they don't have no responsibilities. They don't have like real stuff. And they're struggling. I'm like, bro, you gotta earn the right to struggle. Like, you gotta build something.
Elaborate
you gotta
on
do
that.
everything in
Yes.
your power, and then be like, okay, I did all this, but I'm still struggling. What do I do? But all these kids, they haven't built anything, and they're like complaining about something that is not even real. You know, like I'm like, bro, what are you complaining for? Because like nobody invites you to a party, or like your friends, like that's not real stuff, bro.
But to me, that
You know?
that's the scary part for me.
And that is scary
when
because
I
I
think
feel
about
like a lot
in the
of
next
people.
10 years, yes.
Like it's sad,
Yeah.
dude.
To me, that's scary, because if you tell yourself that you have a mental illness because you have a C in a biology class and you can't function because of that, or because some guy didn't text you back, like if it's marginal things like that, and then you get yourself into marriage, or you have the kid,
And most of these kids
or
are
you
getting
get the
married with those
job,
stuff. A lot of
then
them.
now it's so much more real and so much more severe.
Yeah.
That if you can't handle the C in biology, bro,
Yeah.
you're in trouble for the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. You're in serious trouble once you start to get real life issues. Once you can't pay your bills, or your boss fires you,
And that's
real
when
stuff.
people start to go backwards, because now reality sets in, and now we're looking at the actual life struggles. But guess what? You said it. Those life struggles are actual struggles by you being self-aware and being emotionally mature, mentally mature, and going through all these trials, which goes back to, I don't think people nowadays actually try to do things, actually try to struggle, actually try to build something and fail. They don't. They're comfortable. They want to sit there, look at social media. They want to be on their computer, be on their phones, be on dating apps. There's no actual movement. I
Yeah.
call it movement.
Yeah.
And there's no alignment. In my therapy sessions, we always talk about alignment. Everything has to be aligned with what you want. People don't want to sit around by themselves and figure out, who the hell am I? What am I going to do? What's my passion? What's my purpose? What am I good at? What can I do to change the world? No one sits down and does that.
You said something a couple minutes ago that I want to bring it back, because this is something I'm super passionate about,
Oh, yeah.
which is building the mental skills when you were young. And you said something that a lot of these kids, they're like, oh, I'm too comfortable. What do I do? Well, it's true. A lot of these kids, they don't know what true struggle is. So if you don't know what true struggle will create struggles in your life. Dude, something that I do intentionally, my life is really cool. It's really good. I get to like hang out with cool people, build amazing stuff, connect, and do really cool stuff. But because I don't want comfort, I force myself intentionally to be in bad and hard situations so I can keep building mental skills in order to win in life. Because discipline is not something that you have one day, you have for the rest of your life. That's why I do a lot of crazy stuff every single day. And some days I do more crazy stuff so I can keep building the mental skills so I can win in life.
But that's a tremendous insight. Like, if people understood what you just said, we would be in a totally different place.
Make
Because
your
in
life
the same
harder. That's what I'm saying.
Make your life hard. Because
Make your life uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Literally.
and it can be applied perfectly. We understand this in a physical aspect of when people go here to the gym, they're going to be sore. It hurts. It sucks every time.
Yeah.
But you know that there's a positive result from that. From my vantage point, when the way that I talk about this very concept is communication, of learning to have difficult conversations. If you can put yourself in uncomfortable situations where you need to consolidate your childhood, you need to talk to your parents, you need to talk to your dad, you need to talk to your siblings, you need to have those hard conversations. You need to be willing to have the conversation with your spouse. Make yourself uncomfortable so that that helps you improve. So in the same way that we as a society now understand that if I go lift weights, it's going to hurt, what you just said is key, because if we can put ourselves in painful situations, we're going to get stronger. But I feel like we've gotten there as a collective in the physical sense, but we have not yet got there in a mental sense. You have, and I think it's extraordinary.
But you get to the mental by doing things physically, because this is why I love doing hard things physically, because it's a test to see where my brain is at.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like you have like 3 conversations: your body, then your mind, and then your spirit, which is yourself. Dude, when I did the 50K on July 4th of July, 90 degrees. I had a sprained ankle. Like, it was super swollen. By myself. I haven't run a single mile, not even half a mile, in 2 months and a half. And then I just sent it and I started running, bro. It came to a point that my whole body's cramping. And then my body's like, dude, we're in pain. Please stop. Then my money's like, hey, bro, dude, let's just quit. Like, just call somebody. And then I'm having this conversation like, bro, I'm not quitting. So figure out a way, because we're finishing this thing. So what your mind does is like, all right, guys, okay, this guy's not quitting. So let's make a way to survive. And then your mind expands. Dude, there's times that the pain just goes away and you start pushing. And this is the thing that I love. Since I know I'm a regular dude, I'm not special. I wasn't born by special parents. God doesn't love me more than he loves you guys or whatever. Is if I want to win in life, I have to create those mental skills. I love pain because I learned so much about myself. I love struggle because that's where I'm tested. And this is the thing. If you're competing against me, we talked this in the beginning. If a 20-year-old is competing against me, bro, you have no idea the place I'm willing to go in order to win. 100%. You have no idea how much pain I'm willing to tolerate to get what I want. And I train myself intentionally. Why? Because my life, my calling in life with entrepreneurship, I know it's hard. Life is hard. So I do a lot of this stuff to train for life. Not just because I want to become a runner. I don't want to become a runner. I do it for the mental aspect. Yeah. So when true stuff comes in my life, I'm like, bro, I can handle this stuff. This is like nothing. I've done harder stuff before.
I love it.
You know?
Yep. So I think now we get to the crux of the argument, which is where I wanted to get, and which is why I thought your participation was so important. Could we then say that a gateway to mental strength is through the physical?
Oh, for sure.
100%.
If you can dominate your body, if you can dominate your physical pain, what you put in your mouth, if you can get there, then the emotional becomes easier to handle.
Yes.
I'll give you this. This is why bodybuilding is the harder sport to do.
Come on, man. What are you talking
And
I would say, well, physically or mentally?
Both. Have you been 3% body fat?
3%?
It's a challenge. I mean, I'll say I've never competed myself. My brother was getting ready to compete, and it sucked every time.
Yeah.
It is challenging.
Yeah, so there's a lot of sports that are pretty challenging.
Yeah, but make your point, Lou.
Yeah. The point is dieting for 14, 15 weeks at a time, doing 2 hours of cardio, being able to go to work and go to sleep and have your water and have your meals, and being and suffering because once you get to a certain body fat, your body wants to hold on to it, right? So you have to go a little bit more extreme. And I was doing 2 hours of cardio and eating 50 grams of carbs a day just to go to a certain look. You suffer consistently. I fainted twice one time. So going back to what he said, my mental strength and fortitude and how I think all comes from all of the shit that I put myself through for 11 shows over and over and over and over again. Cutting, bulking, lifting, suffering. And I love to suffer. I love to suffer. I would die on the treadmill if I had to beat someone else or to be the best, right? But that's where my mental fortitude comes from because I put all of that pain into that physical state, not being able to eat anything I wanted for 15 weeks. Try doing that. You know what I'm saying? That builds a lot of character too.
And I think it's the same. At the end of the day, it's the same concept.
Yeah.
You running a 50K with a sprained ankle, going through pain, that is what works for you. Mm-hmm. For Louis, it can be basically starving yourself or having really low carb counts, counting your water, every single macro, going to the gym when you're exhausted, when everything hurts. So I think it's the same concept, just through a different vehicle.
I mean, everybody's different, so they got to try different stuff. But, like, at the end of the day, bro, the story that you just explained, that was built. Like, that confidence is built. Like, it's not that I was born with it. It's not that I'm just talented and this is the way I am. Dude, everybody can have it. It's a choice. Being disciplined is built. Confidence is built. Having a great life, fulfilled life, it's built. Your body is built. The mental skills built. Like, you can earn this stuff. It's just that most people, they just don't put. And I know it sounds simple, but he's literally just do this stuff. I had a conversation with one of my friends. He's really successful. He's from LA. He's 39. And he came here to Utah. And we were talking about belief and behavior. And he said, Ben, beliefs are full of crap. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you should only believe in one thing, God. Everything else is to control you. You don't change by belief. You change by behavior. And he's like, think about every single thing that you've done. It didn't start with belief. You just did it, and then the evidence came, and you started believing. And I'm like, bro, that makes total sense. And then this quote that I've always thought about it, that is, the work comes before the belief. And then I started thinking, like, all the crazy stuff that I've done, honestly, I didn't believe I could do it. But because I did it, my belief, and now have evidence, now increase. But it's you change by behavior. A lot of people, they read all this stuff, they go to all the seminars, they listen to all the podcasts, and they think because they're going to believe it, they're going to change. No, bro, you got to actually change your behavior. You're going to have the results, have the evidence. Therefore, your belief and your brain will change because you're seeing this stuff. Confidence is a real thing. You've said it multiple times. It's not just affirmations in the freaking mirror. It's go and show up and sweat and do hard things and proving to yourself, dude, I am that dude. You know, so you don't change by believing that you're that dude. You change and build confidence by behaving in that way. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
And
So that's
a lot of the times I tell people, and a lot of my pro athletes that I have, the mentality is built because I tell them, you want to be a pro? You better act like a pro.
Yeah.
And behave like a pro. And
live the life of a pro.
You know, it's
Live
true
it.
if you don't believe, just do it. Like,
Just do
the
it.
belief will come,
You
bro.
know?
You know?
And for me, in the real estate space, it's the exact same thing.
Exact same.
It's the same conversation of, you know, I did by myself in volume $15 million last year in sales.
That's
by
awesome.
myself.
Good job.
So it's like, okay, if another agent wants to do that, I can tell you what to do, but I can't make you do it.
Yeah.
Well, that makes
can't make
sense
you do
because
it.
a lot of people don't realize. Like, look at David Goggins. He ran all the stuff that he's done. He believed in himself. He did it. This other person that follows him can say, "Oh wow, he did it. I can do it too." I read this quote. Actually, it was a book that back in the 40s or 30s when Jesse Owens was running and he did like a mile in like 6 minutes or something, no one else could do that. So every year after, people started beating Jesse Owens' record because the belief was no one can run a mile in 8 minutes, whatever. Once it was done, oh shit, it is possible. Everybody started working towards that. You needed one person to make it happen. So Jesse Owens was a pioneer to the running game back in the 30s. I don't remember the actual facts, so don't quote me on this. But after that, every single person knew, oh wow, it's possible to do a 7-minute mile. And then, Mark McGwire, right, hit 70 home runs. Sam Sosa hit 60. Canseco hit whatever. Then everybody else after that was chasing that because it's doable.
You just have to see the
You
example.
have to see the example and you do it.
You know, I think that's a huge problem. We've talked about this before, that a lot of people that are successful, they're overachievers, all this stuff, sometimes in social media, they don't show the real stuff. They show that everything is perfect, that they don't struggle. And that's why all these people are like, oh, like, I want to be like that guy, but like, how does he make it? He never struggles, bro. Let's say David Goggins or like all these, Giannis. Do you remember when he won the NBA champion? He just broke down, just started crying.
Yeah.
Why do you think is that? Because nobody saw the times he wanted to probably quit and all the times he wanted to kill himself, but he pushed through. And all the times maybe he was like, I don't know if I can make this. But he started behaving and just did the work, and now he made it. I was like, dude, I wanted to quit, but I did it. That's why I get emotional so much when I'm doing crazy stuff like 15-hour races and I finish and I just break down. Why? Because I wanted to quit every single freaking minute, but I didn't. So that's literally what it is. And I truly believe that something that people need to do, it's showing you the process of what it really takes. Because I'm pretty open. I always tell people, bro, I always struggle. I'm struggling. But struggling doesn't mean that you cannot do certain things. You can still do it.
Or
But
you
it's like,
stop.
that's just the reality. You're gonna struggle. It's gonna be freaking hard. You're gonna want to quit. You're not gonna believe in yourself. But just keep going. I know it sounds really simple, but everybody wants like a secret formula, 5 steps to winning or 5 steps to making it. There's no steps. There's no formula. There's no secret, bro.
There is no secret.
Like, it's literally doing the work and not quitting. That's it. It's so easy that people don't want to do it.
And I see huge value in what you said of just making peace with the fact that it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
That you're going to struggle. Once you have that, now it's like, okay, if I know it's going to be hard, if I know I'm going to struggle, if I know there's no way around it, how can I handle it in the best possible way?
Yeah.
And there you start, dominate your body, first of all. Learn how to say no. Learn how to, it doesn't matter what your cravings are. If it's not good for you, learn to say no. And then you translate that to your everyday life, and now you're on your way.
You said, dude, I love that word, the translate, because let's say discipline or like mental toughness. If I can push through so much pain in like a running thing or like a competition, I build that skill. I can translate that skill into my finances, my relationships, my spirituality, everything, because now I have it. It's not something that is just in one area. You can translate that skill in everything. So that's why, dude, I'm always saying build mental skills. Mental skills pay the bills. Like build this stuff like fortitude, grit, resilience, discipline, mental toughness, all this stuff. I promise you that thing, just building the skills, will pay off big time in your life.
But you have to do it yourself.
Yes.
Because school's not going to teach you.
School's not going to do it. Your wife is not going to do it.
That's the hard
TikTok
part.
is not gonna
You
teach
got to
you.
do it yourself.
Your parents are in debt, aren't going to do it.
No.
You have to do it yourself.
You have to do it yourself.
You have to do it yourself.
So
Great episode, guys.
Yeah.
that was
was
good
fire.
stuff, dude.
This
Good
was
stuff.
fire.
That was real stuff. It was real
This was
stuff.
I thought you guys were going to fight for a little bit. I was like, man, like, I'm just going to
No,
chill.
well, this is what it's about, right?
It is.
I mean, that's
It's
where I
far
see
after this,
the most value of just bringing different ideas. Because at the end of the day, we're all trying to do the same thing and share the same concepts from our own vehicle.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's extreme sports, bodybuilding, business in my sense, communication skills.
Yeah.
We're all trying to get to the same place. And so that's
It's
why
just how.
I
It's-
find
it's
it.
Principles
how
are
do we get-
universal, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The principles are universals, and it applies to everything.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that all of these things that we're talking about, you guys, translates into any type of job.
Yeah.
Any type of your life that you're living, is in your marriage, is in your financial stability, in your responsibilities, in your, how to raise your kids, right? In your fitness, in everything that you do. All of these patterns and actually need to align. And I've been so good for a long time because everything in my life is aligned. But it took a lot of time, energy, effort, consistency, work ethic to make everything align in your life. And I always say it, people's goals aren't aligned with who they are. It's all a dream, and it's all of this, and they're not realistic. You have to start with the little things, and then you build on top of that. You put a brick by brick by brick by brick, and then after 1,000,000 bricks, you have a perfect wall that won't break. That's why I have this tat right here of the tree, because trees are really hard to break. You will never break me, right? This is why
Because
I
you
can do.
broke yourself
I broke
intentionally
myself
multiple
over and
times.
over
Yeah.
and over and over in my marriage, in bodybuilding, in my life, everything.
Yeah.
And that's where I think
Where the value
is
lies.
the value is.
And you know I wanna also add this thing, life, entrepreneurship, like just everything, dude. It's hard. It's competition out there. Mm-hmm. Like the world doesn't care if you're struggling. Like society doesn't give a crap if you had a bad day. So if you're not ready to go out and compete and win and be aggressive, dude, you're gonna get smashed in the face. Like all these young kids, all these generation kids that are coming like so entitled and they expect everything to be given to them.
You guys are
They
easy to
jump
beat.
into the real world and they're like, there's nothing for you.
Yeah.
You know, so you just have to accept that life is hard. Building a great life is hard. Winning is hard. You gotta be tough, bro. You gotta go out and there and be aggressive and learn how to compete and to win, because nothing is gonna be given to you.
Yeah.
You know, so
You gotta be in line. You gotta be able to hunt.
yeah.
I love that. So Ben, where can people find you? Where can people plug into you? This is your moment. You've got your podcast. You've got your platform.
Well, I started
Talk
my
about that.
new OnlyFans, so they can follow me there. No, I just kidding. You can follow.
It's got hatless photos in there.
Yeah. I'm gonna do a collab with Lutito to get more followers.
He shows
said
some skin. He's
hatless.
gonna take the hat off. I don't think I ever seen this man without a hat. It's a true story.
Oh.
It's just I wear a hat because I don't want to do my hair. I just wear a hat and so it looks
That's
good.
what you get.
Me
in the
too.
OnlyFans.
That's why I wear hats too.
No, you can find me on Instagram. It's BenjaPP201 and Stand Firm with Ben. That's the name of the show on Instagram as well. And dude, like if I can be of value to any of you guys, I'm just here to help.
Yeah.
Like I'm a regular dude, and I just want to show people that if I can do it, I can do it too. Like my life on earth is to truly help people, believe in them, because I didn't have that. Like I love helping people, and I love what I do because I can relate a lot, because I know what it feels like not receiving help. I know what it feels like not having anybody that like even believes in you, and just having a feeling that you're like, you know what, God believes in me, I'm gonna do it. I know what it feels like being on the edge of your life, and wanting to kill yourself and all this stuff. I know what it feels like. So that's why I have so much compassion for people, because I made my life on earth to become the dude I wish I had in my life.
100%.
The friend I've always wanted. The best friend I wanted when I was struggling. So I'm honestly, I'm just here to help. Like you guys, whoever's listening to the show, whatever. And I truly believe we need more people like that truly care about people. There's a lot of selfish people out there. There's a lot of fake people. As we were talking at the beginning. Like, it's just hard to
it is so
discern
true.
a good guy from a bad guy right now.
It's so true, because I have felt that God has given me so many amazing things by what you just said.
Yeah.
God has given me such an amazing life that honestly I never knew I was going to have, to be honest with you, because I truly want to help other people and I truly want to be a light in someone's life.
I love it, guys. I love it. Guys, follow Ben. He's not going to plug it, but I'll plug it. If you need shorts, hats, athletic stuff, 20U, high quality stuff, I love it. He asked me, he's like, dude, what color hat do you have? I have them all.
Literally.
Shorts, he's like, what color? I have them all. It's the greatest stuff. Buy his stuff. Listen to his podcast. Tune into everything, Ben. And with that being said, this is episode 14 of
Love
the
you
Metal
guys.
Mind
Appreciate
Podcast.
you.
Thank you, brother.
Till next time.